AFL as a sport is incredibly dynamic. Players have to obtain absurd endurance, running ability, coordination and strength to excel at the highest level. And that begs the question, are footy players the most dynamic athletes in the world? And I believe that they are. So in today's video, I'm going to be going through several sports and comparing athletes' abilities to truly highlight AFL as having the most dynamic and well-rounded athletes of any sport. I've put a lot of time, effort and research into this video, so let me know what you think. Before we begin, only about 8% of you guys are actually subscribed. The number is going up steadily, let's keep growing this community one sub at a time. Join the channel Discord, link in bio, so that you're always notified when I stream, upload videos, or just to get input on content I put out. Like the video if you enjoy, and without further ado, let's get into it. First we have to define dynamic. The word dynamic is attributed to certain things that are characterized by constant change, activity, or progress. In a sports sense, it's the ability of an athlete to perform at the highest level across a number of categories, and how well they might be able to adapt to new sports with relative ease. I'll be comparing mainly ball and team sports just to make it easier to compare due to varying positions and other factors. Now that's out of the way, let's continue. Height, weight and overall build are not key components which determine your level of success in the AFL, but can certainly help playing ability and allow players to be categorised into specific positions. The average player is around 188 cm tall, or about 6'2", quite a bit taller than the average Australian male, who sits at 5'9". Compared to other professional sports, this is quite average, all things considered. In most sports, height gives you an advantage over your opponent in one way or another. The average height in the NBA is 6'7". In the Premier League, it's 5'11", in the MLB it's 6'2", in cricket it's around 5'10", and an average NFL player is 6'2". Note that nearly all these averages are above the average height of an Australian. Footy is in the upper average area, but of course players can come in varying sizes, according to position, and height doesn't usually impact playing ability to that high of a degree. I couldn't find a specific average on weight, but it's safe to assume that a footy player's build closely resembles that of certain NFL positions, and are bulkier than most soccer, cricket and baseball players, bar a few exceptions. Next, let's look at long distance running and endurance. An AFL player needs to run long distances and maintain a high level of endurance for a long period of time. Due to an AFL game usually equating to around 2 hours of play, this means that players are actively engaged more than any other sport previously mentioned. Soccer is the only comparable ball sport, but subs and a shortened game time differ from the AFL's game plan. Sports like baseball, cricket and American football have extended breaks, either between plays or in the form of timeouts or innings. AFL players average around 12 to 14 kilometers per game, and some may even reach around 20. NBA players roughly average about 4 kilometers, Premier League players average about 10, depending on position, and NFL players sometimes don't reach up to 2 kilometers a game, showing that a sustained level of endurance is the AFL's bread and butter and helps them get a step up over other sports. Next up, let's dive into some of the more agile and quick movement running skills required in footy. Some of the more agile players in recent memory include Gary Ablett Jr. and Cyril Rioli. Agility allows players to change direction quickly and effectively, helping them to weave and dodge obstacles and run in section sprinting efforts. Agility in footy can be compared to sports such as soccer or American football, or basketball, all requiring different movements in their own unique ways. I would have to give footy the edge over baseball and cricket, just due to the more stationary nature of those two games. It kinda sucks that there is no true stat to measure agility. We can easily compare jumping ability, both standing and off a run-up, through use of draft combines. The best standing leap recorded in a draft combine is held by Jordan Gallucci and Aiden Bonner, who both jumped an impressive 89 centimeters or 35 inches. The best running leap was recorded just last year by young giant Leek Aleer at 107 centimeters or 42 inches. Michael Jordan holds the max vert record in basketball at 48 inches. In the NFL, it's 46 inches. Both these sports may be viewed as slightly more explosive in general play, and this stat reflects just that. But they also have a much larger pool of people who play the sport, and also data from a number of years, whereas old AFL combine records are hard to track, especially online. It would be safe to say that AFL players possess a better jumping ability than most cricket, baseball, and soccer players. And something that can't be easily compared across different sports is coordination. Obviously in footy, a high amount of hand-eye coordination is needed to handball, mark, kick, bounce, pretty much 90% of the game. Every sport has its own level of coordination, which I'm fair with calling equal. Ball sports require coordination, it's just a fact. Every player in the league is coordinated enough and most of the time practiced enough to reach a point where most actions are second nature. Kicking in footy is comparable to shooting in basketball or kicking in soccer. Coordination is needed to adjust for the situation at hand within the game. Strength is a key attribute which helps players to succeed in the contested game. It's what separates footy from most other sports who have kept up till now in terms of other attributes. There is no real metric that is measured in the draft to record strength, but modern day players like Paddy Cripps are prime examples of a muscular, strong individual who utilises his strength to his advantage. As a contact sport and one of the more physical, I would say that apart from rugby and American football specialised players, that footy players possess greater strength on average. It allows an already formed athlete to be able to dominate and be the most well-rounded athlete they can possibly be. So yeah, AFL players are extremely dynamic in the way they play the sport of Australian rules football and how they excel in certain areas of physical ability. I think it's safe to say that the AFL contains some of the most well-rounded athletes of any sports league on the planet. For most sports bar a few specific positions, and obviously the NBA regarding height, AFL players would be pretty well adapted to nearly playing almost any sport if the time was put into practice. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Are AFL players the most dynamic athletes in the world, or does that title belong to another sport? The support recently has been great as always. This is a pre-recorded video, so I might not check comments as much as I usually would, but I'll still try to get around to it. Starting next year, I'm going to kick this channel into overdrive and the content I upload into high gear, so stick around for that. Comment any video ideas down below and I'll make sure to check them out. Show the video on Discord some love, and make sure you guys like and subscribe for future sports field content. Have a good one, and cheers.